It's not over yet. Seismologists warn there will be more tremors following Monday's massive magnitude 6 quake. Breakthrough cases. 4 confirmed COVID cases reported as Taiwan's health minister warns of the spread of Omicron. Locked up. Pro-democracy activist Chow Hang-tong is jailed for 15 months for commemorating the Tiananmen Square massacre. And pitching in. The baseball heroes helping Taiwan's Indigenous children both on and off the pitch. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yin Khvat. Seismologists at Taiwan's Central Weather Bureau say they expect aftershocks over the next 2 days, following Monday's magnitude 6 earthquake off the coast of Hualien County. The quake struck at around 6 p.m. with shaking in Taipei lasting for close to a minute and rattling nerves at rush hour. Jaime Ocon reports.
Taiwan started the new year with its first big tremor. People in Taipei had to take cover on Monday as they were about to leave work. There were no reports of injuries and only minor damage, but several people were trapped in elevators. The Central Weather Bureau says that the epicenter was off the eastern coast of Taiwan, but that the earthquake could be felt across the main island. Taiwan Power, the country's state-owned electric company, said over 1,800 homes temporarily lost power after the quake. Even Taipei's metro stopped its service briefly to inspect its tracks, resuming shortly after, but at a slower speed. Government alerts are usually sent out seconds before a quake and in times of natural disasters, but not this time. Taiwan sits between 2 tectonic plates and ordinarily experiences 1 or 2 magnitude 6 or above quakes every year, but last year it saw 5. Academics say the island nation is also struck by a magnitude 8 or above quake every 100 years. The last one, in 1920, didn't cause much damage because of where it struck. But since then, Taiwan has strengthened building foundations and improved early warning systems, all part of an effort to prevent a major disaster when the next earthquake strikes. Kama Xu and Jaime Ocon for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has reported 4 new domestic cases of COVID-19, a taxi driver and 3 cleaners at Taiwan Taoyuan International Airport. On Tuesday, soldiers carried out disinfection work in the parking lot where all 4 worked. It's the first case involving a driver of a quarantine taxi in Taiwan. Around 700 airport taxi drivers are now being tested. One of the cleaners, a woman in her 40s, is infected with the Omicron variant, while the results of the other 3 are not yet confirmed. The woman's family members have so far tested negative. 2 schools in Taoyuan attended by close contacts were closed for 1 day for disinfection work. Taoyuan is strengthening anti-COVID measures until January 17th and requiring people to wear masks at all times outside. Taiwan also reported 30 imported cases on Tuesday. On Tuesday, our media partner Taiwan's Central News Agency spoke with Health Minister Chen Shizong about the threats posed to the country from the latest variant Omicron.
那台湾当然在这样的世界在这样的情况，不可能就是说完全就是说置外于世界的情况，但我们也只好把边境好好的守住。然后确实元旦节过年到昨天看起来它并没有继续往上升，应该是一个好现象。
France is contemplating tightening rules for entry to certain venues with the introduction of a vaccine pass.
À compter du 15 janvier 2022, il sera donc nécessaire, si vous le votez, à partir de 12 ans, de présenter un justificatif vaccinal pour accéder aux activités de loisirs, c'est-à-dire les restaurants, les débits de boissons, les foires, les séminaires, les salons professionnels et les transports interrégionaux.
Current rules allow people to enter these venues with only a negative COVID test. France has a vaccination rate of 77% and is pushing booster shots to combat the spread of the Omicron variant. If it's passed, the legislation will dramatically curtail public life for the unvaccinated. A former legislator has accused Taiwan's former ambassador to Nicaragua of treason for staying in the country and becoming a citizen after the breaking of diplomatic ties. Jaime Wu resigned his post as ambassador to Nicaragua in November. He was granted citizenship in December, one day after the country severed relations with Taiwan. The Foreign Ministry says Wu wanted to stay in Nicaragua because his wife's health problems prevented him from returning to Taiwan. But former DPP legislator Lin Cho-shui slammed Wu for resigning before the severing of ties and for failing to return.
有骨气的外交官，在这样自己的国家被侮辱的情况之下，你去接受他们的荣耀，这是应该的吗？如果越退，当然就要停；如果一次的话，我认为也要追。
A leading Hong Kong activist has been convicted of inciting an unauthorized assembly last year on the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. Chow Hang-tong is a barrister and vice chairwoman of the Hong Kong Alliance in Support of Patriotic Democratic Movements of China. She was found guilty of inciting others to join the annual candlelight vigil banned by police due to social distancing measures. Chow is currently serving a year-long prison sentence handed down last month for inciting a similar vigil in 2020. To learn more about this case and Hong Kong's shrinking space for opposition, reporter Reinho Kilpatrick spoke to legal scholar Patrick Poon at Japan's Meiji University. He began by asking him why authorities are piling so many consecutive sentences on activists.
I think the government want to, to use whatever charges as much as possible to exhaust all the legal means, all the charges to charge Chow Hang-tong and also Jimmy Lai and others to make sure that they will be sentenced to a longer sentence and then to silence them to a longer period. And that is very much similar to what they do to mainland Chinese activists, all those kinds of strange charges, as we say, for the mainland cases will be pocket crimes. All these crimes actually in Hong Kong becomes new forms of pocket crimes that they can pick any crimes, similar crimes, so-called inciting whatever, to detain, to charge these people in order to make sure that they will be in prison.
On New Year's Eve, Chow Hang-tong had her 12th application for bail denied. This is a very consistent trend that we're seeing with national security law defendants, some of which have spent over a year behind bars before even going to trial. Why is it that they are denying bail and keeping these people behind bars before trial for so long?
Because these people are so influential internationally now, because they're actually very famous. Because of the cases, and in order to put them still to be silenced, and in order to make them still be in custody, instead of any way of doing interviews or whatever, any chance of getting international attention while they are outside of custody, the government's intention is really to keep them in custody as much as they can before the trial. There's a similar tactics being applied in mainland China's courts, and very often we see pretty long pre-trial detention for dissidents in mainland China. And purpose is very clear. Government just want people to forget them.
Coming up.
I'm Bing Wong reporting for TaiwanPlus, and I'm here to talk about a very special tournament here in Hualien that inspires hope for all Taiwanese Indigenous baseball players.
湾最有人情味的地方。
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus. For more great news from Taiwan and around the world, download the app TaiwanPlus.
Welcome back. You're watching Taiwan Plus News. A reminder of our top story. Seismologists at Taiwan's Central Weather Bureau say they expect aftershocks over the next 2 days following Monday's magnitude 6 earthquake off the coast of Hualien County. The quake struck at around 6 p.m. with shaking in Taipei lasting for close to a minute and rattling nerves at rush hour. Large parts of Malaysia were inundated with more flooding over the weekend, with thousands of people forced to leave their homes. The Malaysian government says over 125,000 people have been affected by unusually heavy monsoon rains over the past 2 weeks. 50 people have died and 2 remain missing, according to the country's chief of police. The latest floods affected 7 coastal states, leaving many roads underwater. The government says at least 8,700 people are still taking shelter at relief centres. More heavy rainfall and high tides are expected over the next few weeks. South Africa's National Assembly reignited on Monday, just a day after a fire ripped through the historic structure. Authorities initially believed the fire had been contained before it flared up once more. The 138-year-old Parliament building has been the site of some of the country's defining moments. Sunday's blaze gutted offices, causing the ceiling to collapse in some areas. A jury in the US has found Elizabeth Holmes, the former CEO of medical startup Theranos, guilty on 4 charges of fraud. Each count has a maximum prison sentence of 20 years. Holmes started the company in 2003 with the goal of creating a simple blood test that could scan for a wide range of illnesses. She raised over $900 million from heavy-hitting investors. Holmes's legal troubles began in 2015 when a series of reports by the Wall Street Journal revealed the company had made misleading claims about its technology. Shares in tech giant Apple rose as much as 3% on Monday, making it the first company in the world to hit a $3 trillion market capitalization. The company's stock hit a record high of almost $183 on the first day of trading in 2022. Investor confidence was boosted after analysts forecast a strong year for Apple, potentially including the launch of an augmented reality headset. Now, how often have you seen your favorite food appear on TV and felt like you could almost smell it? Well, now you can taste it, thanks to a Japanese invention. Wei Zhonglu has the story.
This student is ordering a chocolate from a machine. Moments later, a transparent film slides out and is sprayed with liquid droplets on top of a screen showing luscious chocolate, and you can actually taste it. This is Taste the TV, developed by a Japanese professor and his team. It uses a carousel of 10 flavored canisters that spray in combination to recreate the taste of various food. The machine is programmed with recipes that can imitate 20 types of food sample.
普通テレビっていうのは映像が出る、そして中に大概スピーカーが入っていて音も一緒に出るということで映像と音声が合わさって配信されているというものだと思います。でそれに味覚も加えて味も一緒に配信する。画面を直接舐めるとそこに映っている食べ物の味を本当に味わえるという風なデザインにしています。
The team said the idea for the invention was inspired by pandemic lockdowns.
というのがコロナ禍の一つの課題だなというふうに感じました。それをなんとか実現して家にいながらにして遠くの味を味わうことができたらというのが、自分の開発動機になります。
One tastable TV cost $875 to make, and the team is planning further taste content by collecting more flavors from around the world, creating a whole new dining experience for the digital age. Klein Wong, Wei-Zhong Liu for TaiwanPlus.
Strobe lights and projectors aren't the first thing that comes to mind when you think of puppet theatre, but one group in Taiwan is hoping they can breathe new life into the traditional art with modern technology. Philip Brassard has this story on how a traditional art is getting a new look for 2022.
With its neon flashing lights and cool sound effects, it would be easy to mistake this scene for a modern concert. And that's just what the Shinergy Puppet Show is hoping for. The theater group uses modern technology, like projection mapping, to update Taiwan's traditional puppet theater for a contemporary audience.
布袋戏它以前也是一个奇观一样的存在，他不觉得戏友可以演得这么活。可是对于现在的人来讲，他已经看过所有的，他已经被很多电影刺激过了，所以呢，我们必须要给他创造另外一个奇观。
Puppet theater is an important part of Taiwan's culture, with a history that goes back to the 17th century. The hope is that with a modern approach, the traditional art form can continue long into the future.
这种做法以后对我们布袋戏前途比较看好。现在的传统布袋戏已经走到那个家父病亡了，观众一直少下去。传统艺术一定要保留，创新技术要传永久。
The Taiwanese public will get their first glimpse of the Shinergy Puppet Show over the New Year holidays, and the group hopes to eventually bring their performance to a global audience. Kama Xu and Philip Brassard for TaiwanPlus.
Every year, Indigenous children across Taiwan come together for a baseball tournament called the Care Cup. Not only do the children get to meet their heroes in the sport, like Lin Zhisheng, but they also get to see another possibility for their future. TaiwanPlus reporter Bing Wang went to Hualien to give us a look inside at how interest in baseball is being cultivated within Indigenous Taiwanese communities.
Lin Zhisheng, affectionately named the big brother of Taiwanese baseball, has already accomplished more than any other Taiwanese person in the sport. But at 39 years old, he knows he's at the tail end of his playing days. And while he seems ready to hang up his glove and bat, it doesn't mean his work is done.
有时候真的是偶像啊，他的小朋友的偶像。希望在球场上给他们更多的他们的目标，我们就是他们的目标。
He's just been re-elected chair of the Taiwanese Indigenous Baseball Development Association for a second term, and he oversees the annual Care Cup, the tournament that brings together young Indigenous players from all over the country. Lin is part of the Amis group, one of 16 indigenous peoples in Taiwan, comprising of less than 3% of Taiwan's population.
几乎原住民的小朋友几乎都是隔代教养，我自己本身也是单亲兼隔代教养，然后也是阿公阿妈带大的，然后妈妈都去外地工作，然后赚钱回来。那因为这样的背景，所以在花东地区打棒球的选手非常非常多。
Huadong is a mountainous area in eastern Taiwan that includes Hualien and Taidong, where most indigenous communities live. And many children in the area share his story.
学校会帮忙照顾小朋友，因为爸爸妈妈都不在，然后或者是阿公阿嬷老了管不动，我们就把我们丢到棒球队那边，然后几乎的小朋友差不多都是这样的情形，对。
打击出去，安打，比赛结束。
你个爸，把福林老干部。
This year, 47 teams and over 1,000 young players came to Hualien to participate in the Care Cup. It's even brought back some professional players who got their start in the tournament.
Sort of a homecoming for a lot of Taiwanese indigenous baseball players. Many of them left Taiwan to play in professional leagues worldwide. Many of them played in the Carrot Cup when they were younger, and now they are back in the community where the love for baseball was first ignited.
投球，投球，可以往前，接球，还没有要走，还没有要走。
为什么你会喜欢打棒球？
为什么会喜欢打棒球？因为棒球可以改变我的人生。
是表演呢。
真的，我没有在变呐。
And for the children, meeting their idols, asking them questions, and picking up a few tips is a perfect way to cap off an already exciting weekend. Taiwan's indigenous community has felt subjugated and been dispossessed by years of colonial rule, and the Carrot Cup is an opportunity for them to celebrate the culture. Lin understands the privileged position he is in. Resources to play baseball don't come easily for indigenous communities. That's why he's created scholarships, not just to provide more baseball opportunities, but to also make the young players more well-rounded people.
鼓励小朋友运动以外，课业也要兼备。那我们会提供这个奖学金，是希望说不要也荒废了他们自己的学业。 因为我本身就是因为了打棒球，然后放弃了学业，所以我觉得这很可惜。运动不是一辈子的，那是知识是一辈子，所以我们会成立这种奖助学金来帮助小朋友，是希望请学校能更督导这些运动的小朋友。
That's what the Carrot Cup is all about, giving young indigenous players a chance to achieve great things both on and off the field. Alex Chen, Patrick Chen, and Bing Wong for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is home to hundreds of varieties of tea, each with their own distinct flavour, making each cup as unique as the person who's drinking it. We now get some insights from a tea master on the secrets of preparing Taiwanese tea.
从事茶这个行业，其实很早就接触，而且是个人喜欢嘛。 因为茶本来就是一个很生活化的东西。台湾茶是这样，那所谓的乌龙茶就是半发酵茶，依发酵程度的不一样，它表现的会完全不一样。它没有什么客观的标准，都是很主观的。啊，比如我有一个台湾媳妇，她嫁给这个华国人，有一天呢，她带她妈妈来，她一来。 我大部分都会先泡这个阿里山，这种是清香型的，有花香的。可是他那个妈妈，可能在他的认知里面，茶不是这个味道。对他来说，对，他会愣在那边。我一看苗头不对劲，为什么这么香的茶，他反应怎么那么奇怪？我赶快泡这个东方美人。好，这个东方美人就很接近红茶，啊，它跟红茶的差别差一点点。 哦，所以他一喝，他很熟悉这个味道，哇，他就好高兴，他就跟那个媳妇讲，跟那个台湾人讲，他说他妈妈要2个，他说喝茶，一般就是说你的熟悉度，如果你对这个茶，你常常喝这个茶，你就比较习惯，这种你没有喝过的，虽然很香啊，可是在他的认知里面，茶不是味道，他就愣在那边了。 像我们这种年纪，大概对冻顶的都会比较喜欢啦。什么原因？很简单啦，小时候吃过会最好吃的。以前只有冻顶又没有高山茶，其实是有一份情感在的。茶也算是一个媒介嘛。当我们喝茶的时候，我们先闻闻它的味道，我们会有交流，会有互动。你一个茶可以泡个5、6泡。 你一个下午一个晚上下来，每个茶的味道都不一样。泡淡了就换一个口味，泡淡了再换一个口味，这个感觉上就很愉快啊， 很幸福啊！茶就是这么迷人。
Thanks for watching TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yin Khvat. We leave you with images of the Drum God Festival in central Taiwan, where a local drumming troupe burned all their broken drums and drumsticks to pray for a better year. For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, please download the TaiwanPlus app. Stay safe and see you next time.